screw it up. As long as we don't, this country will remain the greatest in the world. I want to close on a final story before I take questions, and it's this. People ask me, because I outline in the book, Leadership in Crisis, all these challenges facing our country. I talk about energy policy and education policy and the war on terrorism, but I'm not a cynic at all. I'm not a pessimist at all. I truly believe our best days as a country are ahead of us, not behind us. And if you don't believe me, or if you ever want to recharge your patriotism or your sense of hope and faith, I invite you to the best party you'll ever attend. It's a ceremony when the troops return home from serving us overseas. As governor, I try to go to every departure and every return ceremony. And these are amazing ceremonies. In Louisiana, our National Guard, we got 3,000 National Guardsmen in Iraq this year. Had almost 1,000 guardsmen fighting the oil off of our coast. They've been activated for hurricanes, for oil spills. We've got guardsmen in Haiti and Afghanistan and all over the world. We've given medals to the troops to thank them for their service. I visit with the families of those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice, that have lost a child or a grandchild over there. I'll tell you the story of just one of the thousands of Louisiana National Guardsmen. I met him for the first time back in 2008. He was coming back from Iraq. Now, he had been gone for almost an entire year. His unit had been over there, and we were waiting for the planes to come. They were late, so I was on the tarmac, and I ended up visiting with all the families there, and I met one young woman in particular. She was holding her baby. She was a young wife, a young mother, so excited her husband was coming home. She said, "Governor, I'm not complaining." But she said, when he enlisted, I didn't sign up to be a single mom. She said, I'm proud he served his country, but she said, he's only been home for the birth of our child. He's been gone the entire time. I'm excited he's coming home. You know that young man was excited to be coming back as well. You can get a picture of your child by internet, by email, by letter. It's not the same as holding your baby and watching them grow and turn into a little baby boy. And so eventually the planes landed. As the planes landed, as the troops were getting off the plane, they were just swarmed by their families, by their spouses, their parents, their kids. The kids are waving the flags. The parents have pictures of their children. Everybody is so excited their loved ones back home safely. I got lost in the confusion. After several minutes, though, I heard a familiar voice. I heard this woman call out my name, saying, Governor Jindal, would you come over here and get my picture made? I said, I'd be honored. I go over there, and she said, look, I wanted you to meet my husband. This is the guy I was telling you about. She said, would you get your picture made with us? I said, I'd be honored to do that. She gave her camera to her friend, and the friend was trying to figure out the camera. Every camera is different nowadays. So we're standing there waiting for the friend to figure it out, and I started visiting with the husband. I asked him about his unit. I asked him about the progress in Iraq. Asked him what they had seen, what they had done over there. It was back in 2008. And then I made a mistake. I asked this young soldier a question I never should have asked him. And before I tell you the rest of the story, I will remind you, I was a brand new governor in my defense. It's not like they give you a book telling you how to be governor. Nobody told me what you're supposed to say and not supposed to say. So I'm meeting this young man. I've been visiting with his wife. I was just curious. I said, son, you've been gone for almost an entire year. I'm just curious. When you get home tonight, what's the first thing you want to do when you get home? Now, I thought maybe he'd want to eat some Louisiana shrimp or crawfish, take a hot shower. His wife interrupted him. She wouldn't let him speak. I don't know what she thought he was going to say, but she said, Governor, I'll tell you what he's going to do. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, he's going to change a year's worth of diapers. That's what he's going to do. He hasn't been home all year. I said, well, son, I can't save you from that. Good luck. Second time I saw him, several months later, I was giving a talk. He came up to see me afterwards. He goes, remember me, Governor? I said, yeah. He goes, thanks a lot. I've been doing nothing but changing diapers ever since I got home, thanks to you. Let me tell you the third time I saw him. I was on Elmer's Island this past summer. I told you 1,000 guardsmen had been activated to fight the oil spill. What an amazing job they did. They moved 46 million pounds of sand, rock, and dirt to fill in dozens of passes so we could fight that oil before it got into our wetlands. Down on Elmer's Island in Thunder Bayou, they filled in half a dozen of those passes. They built land bridges using everything from Black Hawks and other helicopters to graders and everything they could to build these land bridges all over the coast. At Elmer's Island, they were using graders, and they would work 24 hours a day under big lights out there in the heat and during the day, during the night, and they'd build these land bridges, armor them with rocks. Thank God they did. It used to be open water. They'd build a land bridge. The oil would get past the boom. It'd get past the skimmers. It'd be trapped by the land bridge time and time again. Then they'd go vacuum it up, and if that land bridge hadn't been there, that oil would have gone straight into the wetlands, straight into the estuaries. That was one of our last lines of defense. So I was out there one day in a military Humvee just to try to help supervise the work, see what they were doing. The young man driving me looked familiar. He said, "Governor, do you remember me?" It was the same young man that had come back from Iraq in 2008. And that's what's amazing about these men and women in uniform. They run towards danger, not away from it, so we can be safe. Now, I still couldn't help myself. I said, "Son, look, last time I saw you," I said, "you just had one child. I'm just curious. Have you had any more children since then? I know you wanted a larger family." He said, "Governor, when would I have time? You guys keep deploying me. I don't have time to have any more babies." You know what's amazing to me? Our kids get it. Our kids get it. We live in a culture that celebrates celebrities for being famous. Our kids understand the importance of honoring our real heroes. I came home to the mansion one day shortly after I was sworn in as governor. My little boy comes running up to the front door yelling, "Daddy's home, Daddy's home," and screaming. He was so happy I was home before he went to bed. He comes and grabs my legs, all 3 years old at the time. I lift him up so I can see him face to face. He's still yelling, "Daddy's home, Daddy's home." I said, "Sean, I can hear you. I know, I'm home." He looks at me. He goes, "Daddy, show me your badge." I said, "I don't have a badge." He goes, "You mean you're not a state trooper?" I said, "Son, look at this house." I said, "I'm governor of the great state of Louisiana." He thought about this for a minute, gave me a disappointed look only a son can give his father. "Do you think you might become a state trooper one day?" I said, "Son, I'll work on it." We are blessed to live in the greatest country in the history of the world. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, and don't for a minute forget that our best days are ahead of us, not behind us, thanks to the fact there are men and women willing to run towards danger, not away from it, so that we can be safe. And as long as there are young boys and girls that understand our real heroes aren't the folks that are famous for being famous, but our real heroes are the men and women that serve us. And my publisher would be mad if I didn't say leadership in crisis about 10 more times. I do hope you'll pick up a copy of the book.